Hello. I wanted to show some part of my thinking process. So I distilled some levels. I could show you that. I run the game, generating only 9 levels to test. And in the remote view, while the level is the game is running, you can, using the remote view, you can select any part of your scene and save it as a scene file. Let me save again as a test scene. Then you stop the game and you can load the scene you just saved as its own prefab, and you can inspect the generated things you have. But in this case, I wanted to let me close. How do you close all? Collapse branch. Yeah. Let me add the visual elements like camera, etc. Nice. Okay, now we have a static game scene without the without the functionality. Let me adjust the camera. You can run with Godot. You can run a specific scene by its own with this button. Yeah. But obviously the camera is not showing all the levels. Let me adjust that. Editable children, camera, I think, yeah, 25, yeah, okay. We have our test scene, and I wanted to think about the stitching of the levels. Of course, in the final game, we don't instantiate levels before connecting them. The instantiation will be depending on the previously created level. So in this case, this could not be a first level, because the first level will need to be accessible from the top, because here we will put the initial elements of the game, and the player will descend into the dungeon through the first level, and we will instantiate the level, and based on the exits we will instantiate the paths and the following levels. For example, this one would be a good example because we have exits to the right and an entry in the left, and this should be, let me change the perspective. Yeah, for example, this is another good example because we could in theory exit through here and fall here, etc. And this one could be another good example, but we in theory will generate this level, check the exits, generate paths, and instantiate new levels. But I wanted to think visually, so I will add, I will try two things, two different approaches. One is using paths. Let me check. Yeah, using Path3D. Let's add a Path3D. Yeah. The Path3D objects in Godot use curves which are made of points, obviously. And let me see. In this path, we should move. Suppose we wanted to start a path. Let me configure the snap. Okay. Suppose we want to start a path here from this exit. No? Then we will add a point there. Let me reset it. 0, 0. And we want to go to here. And we add another point there. Let me put it. Let's use this perspective. Okay, we have obviously this path is very simple, and we need to visualize it. So we'll add a constructive geometry polygon, which extrudes a shape through a mesh, through a path. We need to change the mode to use a path and assign that path. This is a problem. Why is it here? We need to make the path local to use the coordinates of the path local to the mesh. And we need to add some, let's use this. We add some point here. Yeah, and we can control the exit and entry tangents of each control point. And let me see. Yeah, we in theory, let me check the coordinates. Why is this? This is, it should be here, and this should be here. And you can add other control points, of course. For example, here, and you can give it, yeah. But this method, let's use another material. Quick load. Let's use this material here. Okay. In this way, you can visualize possible paths, but obviously, what happens? It's a bit difficult to move. Let's see. This is the control point of this node. Okay. Suppose instead you want to make and this generated polygon, you can control the path interval, which is the smoothness of the generated mesh. and because if you want to achieve a blocky appearance, you put a bigger interval here. But this is not looking too well, and it clashes a bit. Of course, it depends on the material we put here. Let's use that one. Okay. As I said, you control the path by controlling by moving the control points, and you can preview it. But obviously, we need to generate this on the fly while we are stitching the levels. So it's a bit difficult to know beforehand what kind of curvature you will need, because here, in theory, here we could be obstacles or other levels that you must avoid or dodge. So it's a bit tricky to control this kind of curves programmatically, no? And obviously the tangent problem could be, let me reduce a bit this, okay. But it looks nice, so perhaps I will consider doing it for certain kind of connections and using another approach for other kinds of connections. For example, you could use another kind of node that is the GridMap which is a kind of how do you say, the kind of editor inside the engine. You can use tile editors in 2D, and this is a tile editor for 3D meshes instead of 2D. So let's create in this grid map a new mesh library and add, let's see, mesh, add item. Let's call it cube. Very original. Let me expand this a bit. And the mesh, we will make a box and put the same material. Okay, now for this kind of grid maps, you can control different axes. Yeah, we will use the Z axis. And we need to, this is the cell size of the grid map. Yeah, there it is, the problem. Yeah, now we have to offset it by 1/2 in all coordinates. Yeah, okay, nice. We can select, we can delete, I think, grid map, mesh library. Okay. How do I? Okay. We can now make other kinds of paths. For example, this one, which will be, I wonder if we can draw lines with this. No, it seems not to have that You can delete. Okay. Now we can connect. In theory, from a script, we could add cubes or tubes or some other kind of prefab to make our paths, but or we could use obviously the procedural wall asset to draw the connections, but I'm not sure, because in theory this kind of grid map it's more performant, but we will have to make some tests, because perhaps the Path3D option is more visually appealing when we have a bigger number of levels, because some kind of games mix the blocky appearance of the levels with a more natural overworld assets, but I'm really not sure. And the complexity of the curvature here could be too much. We could use, in theory, different kinds of curves for each possible connection. For example, here, from right exit to left entry, we could use only this kind of connection and make some variations, some random variations. Because this, sorry, the bounding box of this kind of curve is easy to compute, to check for collisions, etc. Or and for example, for if we let me duplicate curve, make unique. There it is. Okay. This is a good example of yeah, because in Godot all the nodes are references until you save to disk, or in this case with the make unique option, you differentiate this path from this one. Okay, as I was saying, we can have different kinds of curves. Let me move this one, for example. Let me move it here, and we want to connect to here from here, no? Then we could have different kinds of curves for different kinds of connections. In this case, from right to left, or from right exit to left entry, and in this case, from right exit to top entry. We have another curve which will have its own bounding box. In this case, a bit more difficult to manage, I think. Of course, we could add new points to the curve to add control, but yeah, let's add another one here. and yeah, something like that. So we will have more control about the curvature, the overall curvature of the path, and we should be able to pre-compute the kind of bounding box we need to detect collision with previously generated levels, and detect where or calculate where to put new levels based on the paths already existing, etc. But the curve approach could be a bit messy. The grid map approach will have its own problems, of course. Let me disable this temporarily, because for the grid map approach, suppose we want to connect this exit with this entry. In theory, it's easy to make this kind of paths using algorithms like A star, etc. But it could be a bit ugly, because you want to add some kind of variation like this, or perhaps something like this, and this kind of rivets on the curve could be a bit difficult to pre-compute or to compute on the fly. So I'm not sure. Let's enable this one. For other kinds of connections, let me erase this. For other kinds of connections, like for example, we could have more abstract connections that show in the map to show only the levels, and the connections be virtual. So when you exit, you magically are transported to other levels. But I prefer to make the connections visual, because it's more honest, and the player could plan their why this moves this path. Okay. If the connections are visual, the player can plan their the order in which they solve the levels, so it's more honest in that way. Okay, I only wanted to show these two techniques. Perhaps you could use them in your games, or to think visually, which is useful sometimes, because to imagine something is different than to actually see it in the editor. Okay, I wanted to show that. Thanks for watching. You can always comment with suggestions if you want down below, and you can support me using the links. For now, bye.